Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is about collaborative mapping for urban practitioners, and it's a pleasure to have you all here. Hi, everyone who's writing in the chat. So this event is co-organized by All Things Urban and Felt. My name is Naila Sanyour. I'm a close collaborator at All Things Urban, and I will be moderating today's session. So a quick introduction, who are we? All Things Urban. First, we connect over 65,000 urbanists with jobs, educational opportunities, and organizations. And with our platform, our curated newsletters, and our events like this one, we bridge the gap between professionals, skilled professionals like you, and organizations and entities shaping the future of our cities. And this event is co-organized in collaboration with Felt. Felt is a browser-based tool to create and share maps, and it's setting new standards in mapping workflows for urban practitioners. So Felt, just a little bit about them and the tool. Felt has a very intuitive interface and powerful tools for visualization and analysis, and it helps you create, annotate, and share maps and design proposals. And additionally, it offers seamless integration with QGIS for advanced spatial analysis and decision making. So if you're an urban practitioner, whether you're an architect, an urban designer, or a transportation planner, you can find Felt very useful to seamlessly conduct site analysis, urban studies, conditions assessment, and present your work to your clients and teammates. So we're going to get into all this in a bit. I will share the link to Felt's website in the chat. Hi for everyone who's writing in the chat. It's good to see everyone saying where you're coming from. So as you get settled, I want to let you know before we start that this webinar will be recorded, and we will send a recording in a follow-up email for everyone who registered to the event. Whether you're here in the room or not, you will receive the email with the recording, and you'll be able to follow this webinar later. You may be familiar, everyone, now with how Zoom functions, obviously, but as a reminder, you have in this webinar the option to write in the chat section, in the chat where everyone's writing now to say where you come from, so that's great. But you also have the Q&A section, which we'll be mainly using in the last part of the webinar. So there is where you need to put your specific questions, and we'll get into that later. That's very nice to see everyone coming from so many different parts of the world. So thank you already. I'm saying hi from Madrid. Anastasia is saying hi from Berlin. And Juan Pablo will present himself and he's saying hi from Chile. That's right. And now that we're all settled, I will kickstart the official introduction of why we're here actually today. So we're up for an exciting discussion on collaborative mapping for urban practitioners. We were absolutely sold out for this event. Hundreds of people were registered, and we look forward to give you a lot of information and useful insights to bring back to your projects and your organizations. So just a week ago, as we were preparing for this, we reached out to our All Things Urban community on LinkedIn with the following question. So what is your biggest challenge with collaborative urban projects? More than 200 people responded, and the result of the survey speaks loudly. 60% of you think that stakeholder coordination is actually the biggest challenge. And that goes way above shared data access or any technological barrier. So this clearly highlights something that we need to look at. So how do we collaborate in a better way? And today we're going to dive deeper into one specific aspect of collaboration with stakeholders, which is through collaborative mapping. And Felt has developed this tool, which can bring essential improvements to the way we approach working on urban development projects with diverse stakeholders. So we'll dive deep into that in a moment. And today, as you may see, with me in the panel, along with Anastasia Sukhroslova, who is CEO and founder of All Things Urban, we also have our guest speaker, which is Juan Pablo Corral. Juan Pablo, I will introduce you in a minute, but with you, we'll explore the tool's ability to engage stakeholders, streamline data sharing, and basically simplify mapping and this technology for urban practitioners. But also beyond the tool itself, we want to talk about the skill set of collaborative mapping and how you can use it in your careers. Whoever is in the audience today, we want to use the skill set of collaborative mapping as a boost in your career as urban practitioners. And we want you to get back with actionable insights for your projects and organizations. So Juan, I'll get to introduce you now. Here's the quick bio. Juan Pablo is Felt's manager for urban planning and community development. Juan holds a master's in science in city design and social science from LSE, the London School of Economics. Juan, you have extensive professional and academic experience across the UK, the US, and Latin America, and your expertise encompasses urban design, urban planning initiatives, GIS consultancy projects in the real estate sector, urban research studies for both public and private sector across multiple countries. I'm going to share Juan's LinkedIn in the chat so you can drown him with messages later. And before giving the floor to Juan, I want to let you know how the session will go. So in the first part, we'll have a presentation, approximately half an hour, where Juan will be presenting the tool and how it works and giving a practical case study. So you're going to get really into how it all works. While Juan is presenting, I invite you to post your questions in the Q&A section, preferably the Q&A and not the chat, because this will help us track your questions. I will collect them and we'll have a selection of some of these in the end. And after the presentation of Juan, we'll have the Q&A part. You can like the questions and vote them up for the ones you prefer or you agree with. And we're finally joined by Anna Savina in the audience. Anna is not on the panel with us, but Anna is community and content manager at Felt. And she'll be supporting us if you need any specific, if you have any specific question about Felt. So Anna will also be answering in the Q&A. And without further ado, Juan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Naila and Anastasia. Many thanks for this opportunity. And well, as you just mentioned, I'm Juan Pablo Corral. I'm Felt's manager for urban planning and community development at Felt. And what I would like to do today is show you why Felt is a sort of like an all-in-one tool for urban practitioners. And I will argue this based on my experience, obviously, but not only because of my professional experience, but also because before joining Felt, I was a regular user of the platform that was looking for ways to enhance my work and add more value to my outputs for my work in general. And basically, this is how I found Felt. And then I started as I joined them as an employee today. So just like a quick summary of what we're gonna see today, I will start talking about my journey, a bit like how I moved from architecture to being an urban designer and GIS consultant, at that journey. And also I would like to discuss, based on this experience, a few pain points and workflows that I think you all have experienced and how Felt can solve them. Then I will move to our platform. I will show you a few use cases and I'll share some maps, and then we'll go, as you just said, Naila, to the Q&A part. So let me share my screen to start with this, with the presentation. So please, can you confirm if you see my screen, Naila? Is it?
Perfect. Thanks, Juan.
Okay, good. So, okay, let's get started. So first of all, as I just mentioned, I would like to talk about a bit about my journey, from being an architect to a spatial data analyst. So first, I'm an architect from Chile. I'm in Chile at the moment, joining the session remotely. And I studied at the Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile. And also I had some research and practical involvement with teams and in the US, doing research projects for the Harvard GSD. And also after that, I worked at Avalos and Centricity, doing mainly mixed use projects in China. And basically it was my first approach to cities, from being an architect to have some kind of experience with cities. And after that, I moved to the UK, and as you mentioned, Naila, I did a program at the LSE about cities. And I think that it was like a turning point for me, because after that I moved with all my experience to the city, or being like an urban practitioner, more related to GIS, urban planning, urban design, to this world. And then I joined Felt almost 8 months ago, where I'm leading this area about urban planning and community development. So basically, what I've been doing from the last 6 to 7 years is producing maps. I will say hundreds of maps for private and public sector, real estate, research, urban studies, and more. So if we see those to the left are for assessing potential for redevelopment in a heritage area in Santiago de Chile, or if you go for those to the right, are for a tall buildings study we did as part of US in London for Tower Hamlets, where the question was where we should densify, how we can densify, and why we can densify certain areas and others we shouldn't. And based on this experience, what I've realized was there are three main pain points that can help us to move from from working with maps from good to great. And there are 3 points that I would like to mention today that I will explain deeper now. But those are related to first, working with different scales. Secondly, working with different workflows, how we work together in this urban environment. And third, it's about communication, how we can work together while working with urban projects or architectural projects that have a bigger scale. So first of all, about scales, what I would like to mention here is that, as you all know, we work at different scales. It can be from the S scale, more related to architecture, or to the XL scale, which is maybe a regional planning. And the point here is that we all use different softwares that, for instance, architects and urban designers might be more likely to use AutoCAD, Vectorworks, Illustrator, Google Maps, or others. And then if you move to the XL scale, you might be using some GIS and Agor or Google Earth. And the point here is that this way of working brings a separation between professionals that are obviously related. It's quite difficult to move from us. It's quite difficult to detach aside from what is happening within this neighborhood or within this neighborhood to the city scale. So what I think the problem is here is that we need for a tool that can help us, all professionals, to work together. I mean, not work together using the same tools, but at least having a common workspace where you can share material and easily between these professionals, because all these scales are essentially interconnected. And secondly, about workflows, you might have noticed that when you send a proposal to a client, or you get an agreement to work on a study or an urban research study, or a master plan or whatever, you may have an inception phase, then you will have a site analysis or baseline stage. Then you will move to a draft document for this proposal, and then a final report. So it looks something like this, a quite linear. But in reality, what's happening with our projects is that you can have a starting point, but the way that you get to the final part, to the end, it looks more like this. It's like a back and forth process where first you will need to start with data collection, doing some quick checks to the data you've got, preparing some draft plans, annotate on your maps, prepare presentations, send this draft document. At some point you will need to come back because you've got feedback and prepare new maps and more. And even when you finish a project, when you get to this point, you might think that, or sometimes this final part might be the starting point for a new project. So, and normally what happens is that when you finish a project, all this material, it's quite difficult to share with this new practice that will start a new project on top of what you have done before. And the third point, it's about communication. And we have this conventional approach for our projects where you have like a professionals that can be, let's say, an architect, urban designer, that they have like a client. And between them, you have some communication patterns that are used for feedback, for sending reports, inquiries, and more. And basically, what happens in reality, and that makes some communication patterns quite inefficient, it's that our communication patterns are varied, diffuse, and dynamic. So let's say you are an urban planner or urban designer that you have like a leading role with a client. You will be working with GIS consultants, architects, transport engineers, and they all will send you material, let's say plans, PDFs, shapefiles, or geopackage to you that you need to collect and then send to your client. And normally this process is quite inefficient, and it's also quite difficult to get feedback from your client. And that's a point that I will show you later that Felt can also solve. So there are like three main points that I would like to discuss and that I will show you how Felt can solve this. The first one is about scales, secondly, workflows, and the third one is about communication. And the thing is that when you see alternatives, let's say other softwares, you might notice that they are good at one or two things, but not at all. And what I would like to show you now by using our platform is that Felt can solve, that can help you to solve all these problems within the same platform. Because first of all, it's really great to work with different scales. Secondly, you can have multiple workflows from having feedback on your map, from sharing this easily to colleagues or clients. And also, it's quite easy to share like with other people. And so this is like the quick introduction. And I would like to now move to our platform to discuss these 3 points about the scales, workflows, and communication patterns. So let me just move to this map where that is our starting point. So Naila, does it look right? Okay, great. So first of all, I would like to share this map with you. So I will copy this URL and then you will have access to this map very easily. Where's the chat? So I will put this here. I will send this to everyone. So all of you can get access to this map. And so I see that people is coming, which is very nice. I can see you all getting access to our map. And I will recommend you to, if you go to the top left part of your screen, you can sign up for Felt. And then I will recommend you to duplicate this map. And then if you want, you can share this with your team or friends. If you go to the top right part of your screen, here you can add emails for like collaborators or friends that missed this webinar. And I will recommend you to do this. I can give like a minute or something so you can do this, and then we can come back to the session. Because I put here my contact details. So if you want, well, you all have like a Felt's contact, but also if you want to direct like a question, like a more specific, please feel free to do this. But also I put together a few links here, which is for links for GIS data sources around the world. So if you click here, you will get access to a map with different data sources around the world, and also to our YouTube channel, so you can get access to different educational materials about essentials about Felt, which is a series where can help you to understand how to use our platform, also about transformations that I will show you later today, and also content about Felt plus QGIS. So, and finally, also some customer stories from Icon and Alta Design that they are using Felt for different professional purposes. So let me start by showing you how I will do this. So I will bring my slides so you can also get access to them if you duplicate this map. So I just wrote this the slides. So please see how easy it is to bring the slides to my map, that they are uploaded to our map and they will appear here. So please duplicate this map so you can get access to this. So let me make sure it's there too. Okay, so there are the slides. I will copy the others, so please take a look at them so you can get access to my slides later. So here, just copy them, and then you see how fast they are being uploaded on our map. So let me start with this use case that we're gonna see today. So first of all, I will talk about like a scales and different workflows. And let's think that you need to do like a baseline analysis for a site and answer the following question, which I think it's quite common for you if you're working as an architect or urban designer, and someone asks you to know if there is like some brownfield land within our site, a site that you will be developing afterwards. I must say that we're using Allies and Morrison like a material to show this example because we're working in London in the Olympics Parks site. So let's start with this. So first of all, I would like to show you how you can bring a file from QGIS to Felt. Then I will bring like some a layer about boroughs for context, and then I will bring this brownfield land shapefile from a server and do some transformations to get this question answered. So first of all, if I go to QGIS, you might be familiar with this. If you go to plugins and then manage plugins, you will be able to find a plugin that will allow you to work in QGIS and export layers or even projects to your felt map. So if you install this, you will be able to, here you do double click, you can export your layer to felt. And if you select your workspace, your felt, here's my map, and I want to bring this layer from QGIS to felt. I just press add to felt, and the layer will be appearing here in just like a matter of seconds, as you see here. This is our site. Let's say we're working in London, as I just mentioned, in the Olympics Parks, and that's our site for a new proposal that we are working on. So in just a matter of seconds, our layer has appeared with our site, which is here, if you can see that. And then the question is how we can first contextualize our site, like where it is, like which boroughs are next to our site. And then we need to figure out if there are like some brownfield land within our site. So what we're gonna do first, I would like to just change the style here to put no, so I can have just like the boundary line of my site, which is here. I just have the red line. I can change the stroke very easily. I will put that. And then I will bring a few shapefiles for context. So I will bring this one. I will bring this geo package. I will just drag and drop directly to my map. And then Felt will recognize immediately that it has some spatial data attached to this file. And then I will create this data layer, and this will appear in a matter of seconds. I can put this down so I can contextualize my site. And also what I would like to do, so you see that the layer has appeared. And then I can also do some work here to categorize the layer. That's using like by the borough, the name of each borough. So Tower Hamlet, Newham, Hackney, and then we realize that our site is part of 3 different like boroughs. I can also add a legend here. You go here, which will be a label. And something very nice about Felt is that I just press like add a label, and it will recognize the most like a likely field to use. In this case, it immediately recognized that name was the one I wanted to share. So you can see the name of each borough here. And then if we continue with this task that we need to answer this question, it was about how we can how we can know if there is like some brownfield land within our site. So then what we're gonna do is to get this layer. In this case, we're gonna go to this link. So, and then we go to this London data store where we can get different data sets. And this one is specifically for like a brownfield, like a register. And obviously you can download this as different data formats, let's say CSV, GeoPackage, and others. But in this case, what we would like to do is to get this map directly from the server. So we don't need to download the file, but we're gonna use a URL just to upload this directly to my map. And what they're gonna do here is to go here, because this is a link to the web mapping service. I just copy this, I come back to my map, Command D, and which is very nice is that it automatically recognizes that this link has spatial data attached. So my layer will be uploaded here. So let's wait for this to come. It's being uploaded. It's very quick, as you see here. And the brownfield layer will appear. And in this case, the brownfield is for all London. So all around London, this layer is being uploaded. So it's taking like a few seconds. And what we can do for context is that, let's say we need to share this with a colleague. So I can just copy and paste this text, and I can use one of our annotation tools to have a quick reminder of what are the brownfield sites, the brownfield layer, what it includes. So it's just for context for my colleague if I share this map later. So what we have here is first a layer with our brownfield. I will rename this with our brownfield land. And we have our site as a shapefile, and we have our borders. And what we want to know is if there is any brownfield land within our site, within this red boundary. And what we're gonna do also is to share this with, let's say, a colleague, because he's asking this to you, or let's say a client. So to figure out that, I think it's obviously pretty obvious that this site is part of that, but we're gonna get like maybe a new layer for sharing this with other people. So something which is very nice, like from Felt, is that you have this part here, which is transform, which is basically all the spatial analysis tools that we have in our software. So if you go here, you can use, let's say, at the intersection between shapefiles. And in this case, what we're gonna know is that it can create new features from like a site where it overlaps with a brownfield land. And which is very nice is that it can give you a preview of what you're gonna get later if you use this tool. So it gives you this polygon directly here that you can get this, and then you will get like a new layer that will show only this polygon, which is within our site boundary. It's getting there. And also something interesting that you can do is that, let's say we're going to answer the same question. So you have two different ways of doing this. If you get here, you will get all the data attached to this polygon. So you can get the object ID is 1791. And something that you can also do is to go to this layer, and we have a filter option here, which is very nice because you can add filters to get a specific data, but at the same time, you can also create new layers based on these filters. So I am going to use a filter, and I'm going to use object ID, that was the one we just saw, and I will press this, and it will immediately recognize that this ID was for this polygon. And then you can press done, and then I will only see if using this layer only that polygon. But also something which is really nice is that I can update this in a new layer. So it will create a new layer with this polygon only. So now that we have answered a question, if there was some brownfield site within our site, I can also, let's say my colleague Jason was asking this, and I will mention here so he can know that the question is answered. You can put a comment and answer this. And it's this polygon. So he can know, and I make sure that he will come back to our map and see that this is the polygon that we are talking about, that is brownfields land within our site. And also I can also share this map with different people by adding their emails, or just copy the link under different privacy permissions, like as I did with you. So you can all get access to this map by getting the URL, and then you can go to our map and see all that is happening here. So after we have answered this, well, you can see here, we've got the brownfield land filter with only this polygon, and also there is the other layer that was the intersection between our brownfield land. It has a filter, so I need to remove that brownfield land and our site. So that question was answered. And let's come back so I can show you other tools that Felt has. After we have answered this question, I will go to this link. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this, of the map part, if you duplicate this map, you will get access to this map so you can revisit this later. Maybe you can see the recording plus the map and you can follow the instructions. So I think it's very useful for you to duplicate this map. So let's go to this other map that I prepared for this session, where I'll be talking about external collaborations on like how you can share maps with your clients. So there is the case number 2. It's about a communication. And let's say you are working with the same site as we had before, that we were looking for brownfield land. But now that you need to prepare a map or like a presentation for a client of a renovation project that you led time ago. So again, we're using Eliza Morrison material to reproduce this as a nice example. And then what you will need to cover, or like at the outline, let's say for your presentation, will be, okay, let's bring context to this, how we can move from the city to the site and from the site to the city. And for that, we will use the Zoom styling tools that Felt has. Secondly, let's say you need to do a historical development of the area, how the area looked like a decades ago. So we'll bring some photographs, aerial imagery for you to contextualize this. And then we will show this like a master proposal with the proposal buildings, and even we will bring an explanatory video on our map. That will be a YouTube link that you can share with your map, and you can watch this directly with your map. So let's get started with the context. How you can contextualize a site with what is around this. So first of all, this is our site boundary. And if you zoom into this map, you will notice that when I move in and out, I can easily contextualize what is happening next to my site. So if I zoom out, I have these polygons, which are like almost transparent, but when I zoom in, they are now like they turn into like a black, like a full black, which is very nice for contextualizing. So you have only your boroughs, and when you zoom out, you have your boroughs, like just for context, and also the boroughs where my site is are in yellow. So this is like a really nice tool that Felt has, which allows you to do zoom-based style based on the zoom that you are using, right? So let's take the London boroughs as an example. So in this case, what I've done is that I can set a color and also transparency based on the zoom style on the zoom level that I'm using. So in this case, I'm using this like a transparent gray with transparency, as you see here, when I'm at this zoom level. But when I zoom in, it gets like a darker, like some kind of like a black. And you can manage this here. So let me just change this for example. If I change this to blue, but I want to also change the transparency of this, I can change this here. So in this case, we will transition from this light blue or light blue to the black when I zoom in and out. And once we are here, what I would like to show is that, let's say you want to contextualize your site with this historical, like a context. So you can bring easily images like from your desktop. And let's say we want to bring another one to contextualize this like from an aerial view of the site. So like this, you just drag and drop your image just for context. And let's say you also want to have some kind of annotation with text that explains what was happening at this point in this area. So you can put this annotation tools. You can also see which others we have, but I'm just like showing this for you for like for context. With this text, I can just go here, copy and paste my text, Command C, Command B, and you can come here, and you will have this map contextualized where you can just share your screen, have this image, and then also have this text for context. Let's say we are doing, and also you can group all this. If you go here, you can go to groups here. So let's say we're grouping all these in late 1940. So when you turn on and off your groups, it will disappear. Let's say we're doing the same for the 2000s with the same, so you can easily contextualize your projects and your maps. And for more recently, the 2020 with the same, where you have a location where the image was taken from with different tools that you can do this just for context. Let's say you are putting there where the image was taken. And said that, let's say you bring the proposal to your map. It's being loaded here. Let's say you bring your proposal as a PNG. In this case, it was a PNG that I just drag and drop to my map, on top of my map, and then I just located this as part of my boundary. So let's say you also want to show like which are the buildings that you were working on while developing this project. And which is very nice here is that if you are creative, you can have multiple ways of showing your work. Let's say we press here and I added this image and also like a text for this like a polygon, and you can do this very easily by doing this. You can go here and then you can create like a polygon where you can zoom in, create a polygon just on top of your image, double click, and then you will get this polygon. And if you're here, you can upload an image that will bring you to browse within your computer. I just open this and then I will have my image. And also I can have a description for this. So let's come here. I have this text. This is the Cooper Box Arena. Just copy the text. Come here. I have a description, and this is the Cooper Box Arena. And then what you will have here is that the same as we had for this other polygon, where you click here and then you have like an image with all your text. And what I have here is also that I have like a number that allows you to recognize which building is the one that we are using. So I can copy and paste this. and bring this on top of my polygon, I can change the color here. So you have this information, which is basically a sort of geolocated workspace where you can bring your plans, where you can bring images, text, even you can bring YouTube links to your map. That, let's say we can go to YouTube. And here you can look for any YouTube link. So let's say we're using this one. We just get a URL, and then you can come back to your map, copy and paste, and it will immediately recognize that this is a YouTube link that you can even watch on top of your map. Okay, so I think this is like most of I want to cover today. So Naila, I think we can start with the Q&A, but most of the thing that I would like to show is this, which is basically how Felt is like a perfect tool for you to work with different scales. You can visualize different stuff using different scales. At the same time, you can have different workflows because you can work on this on like a presentation, but also contextualize your project and easily share your project with clients, colleagues, and more. And also our commenting tools, which are this one, where you can add different collaborators or even clients to comment on your map. And also our sharing options, which are very easy to use. So I think this was most of the content I wanted to share. And maybe we can start now with the Q&A, Naila, if you want.
Excellent, Juan. Thank you so much for the insightful presentation of the beginning and this super detailed practical tutorial. So in the beginning of your presentation, we saw that urban practitioners work at different scales, workflows, and communication patterns, and they're often disconnected and disintegrated, and you're looking to integrate them. And we really saw how user-friendly it all was. We already have a bunch of questions in the Q&A section. Some of them have already been answered by Anna, who's supporting in the answering them textually. But I will give you, Juan, here some of the questions that are most upvoted. So to start with, how would Felt compare to some industry standard platforms like ArcGIS from Esri? And also to bind it with another question, maybe related to QGIS. So someone is also asking, Felt does not have the information itself. You need this information from GIS or municipal information because you integrated it with QGIS. So can you expand on this, on the integration of different tools?
About the first one, so about how Felt compares to other alternatives. First, I would like to say that Felt is like a GIS platform. Of course, it is, but it's much more than that, as you have seen now. Like you can use GIS, shapefiles, GeoJSON, and more. But you also have like dozens of other tools that can help you to annotate on your map, bring like a video, images, and more. And if I answer specifically your question, I think the main differences are that, and also it's what our customers say, is that Felt is much more friendly. So basically, if you are a GIS expert, you can use Felt for your work. You can bring your shapefiles and more. But if you haven't heard about GIS at all, or you are like a beginner, or it's your first time into this work, you can also use that because it's very easy to use, user-friendly, and more. And also another point, and I hope you notice this, is that it's very powerful, and also the way that you can upload data on your map is very quick and it takes just like a few seconds to upload there. So that's our, like, I think the main differences from that differentiate Felt from other alternatives.
Great.
And
Another,
about the second,
yeah.
sorry, about QGIS, and yeah, I'm not sure if I got this right, but basically as a GIS platform, it works in two ways. One is that you can upload data from different like parts. It can be a planning authority portal. It can be a file that you have in a folder in your computer and more, or you can create data. That are the two ways that you can work with geospatial data, like in general terms, obviously. And with Felt, you can do both. You can upload data, as I showed you before. It can be from a URL, from a file, and another like a format. And also you can map while using Felt and create like a new geospatial layers. I didn't show this like specifically, but if you go to our YouTube channel, you can look for that.
Excellent. Another very upvoted question was, I'm saying textually, and maybe I can rephrase as well. Can felt be utilized in different, less advanced countries? And I would rephrase to add maybe less advanced means a place where you don't have enough open source data, such as you would have in London. That's how I understand the question.
Yeah, of course. Like it obviously the data from public authorities is like a one part of this, but also we all know that there exists OSM, which is Open Map Services. There are like 100 or 1,000 of data for different countries. And we also have some videos about that, or we're releasing like a few others, like how you can get data from OSM, Open Map Services, to bring into your into on your map. And also we also have some other series where you can get interesting resources like for GIS portals around the world, as the World Atlas of GIS that I showed you before, and that the link is on your map. So please duplicate that and go there.
Super. I'm trying to catch questions that are both in the chat and in the Q&A, but I'm giving priority to the ones that are in the Q&A just because it's easier for us to manage. So if you have a question in the chat, please post it there. Going at the idea of working in 3D. So can you use the workflow to work with Google Earth 3D? Does Felt recognize 3D or is it 2D only?
It is 2D only. However, basically when you have like a 3D polygon, it's because it has like a value, a field which has attached data on height, right? So it can be like a field which is height and then it has a number. And obviously, if you have that, you can bring this data to your map and you can create, let's say, a height map for like a building heights using 2D data. Or you can also use QGIS for these purposes. There are like a few plugins that allow you to plot height data or like a number as a 3D format. And something which is very nice, and as I showed you before, we have a really nice integration between Felt and QGIS, so you can use these powerful tools from QGIS, but if you want to share your work, you can use Felt for these purposes.
Super, answering everything, just the right amount of information. Anna is also adding some links for everyone who has very specific functional questions. Another upvoted question for you, Juan, is can you do any statistics and Excel-like diagrams with Felt?
Yeah, you have. So if you go to Felt, let me show you something. Me 1 second. I'm just preparing the map for this. So what you can do here, let me show you my screen. So let's say we have this in my screen, right? If you can confirm, Naila.
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of statistics, what you can do in Felt, I will explain both what you can do in Felt and in QGIS. So if you have a layer that obviously, if you go to the table, it has, sorry, this one is it's my side. Let me use the brownfield land. So let's use this one. So if you go to the table, every shapefile, geopackage, or wherever that any like a layer that has spatial data will have like a table like this where all the data is stored. And basically what Felt does is a way that you can visualize this spatially. So if you go here and then you select a field, let's say we're using the number of hectares, and you go here, it will show you how the data is, let me use this one, how the data is spread. So in a way, it is showing you this map is like a kind of histogram. It's not the best example, but I prefer to show is that it will show you where is the data and what's the range between all these sites that we have here. So it goes from 0 in terms of hectares to 188, and then you can visualize all the data here as an histogram, which is basically the numbers that you have in your table here as a histogram. And this is the same way as QGIS does. You can go here, you can go to your styling options, see a histogram in QGIS as well. Or in QGIS, there are also another plugins that help you to plot histograms like a more professional, where you will get a URL and then you can plot the data basically as graphs or more.
Super. Juan, we'll try to squeeze in a couple more questions. There's a lot more than we can answer now, actually, but I will leave those that can be responded through extra links or viewing your website. I will leave them out for now, but there's an upvoted question that seems interesting for the community here. So can this tool be used for community engagement and public feedback? Because a lot of urbanists work with community engagement. And I will try to keep a part at the end for data and data security and the collaborative aspect of this. So if you can answer the first part of community engagement, and then we'll start wrapping up.
Okay, let me answer this question by like showing this map. So let's say you are planning, let's say you have, I think this map is better for this. So we have our proposal for a master plan in Tower Hamlets, and hopefully we can get this type of work, which is really nice. But let's say we're the authors of this project, and we have this proposal, this master plan, and we want to collect feedback from a community. Basically, what Felt has is that it has these sharing options. And what you can do here is that you can create URLs that you can share with different people. And obviously, you don't want people to see more than you are like a setting at the beginning. So Felt has different sharing options that goes from none, which is basically no one can see this map more than the people which is added as collaborators, or you can share your map for 3 different like privacy options. The first one is anyone that has this URL can view this map, but they cannot comment. So it won't work for like a community development or for getting feedback for a proposal. But if you go here with view and comment, anyone that get access to this URL can get feedback, can add a comment and say, okay, I like this building. And you can open this like to your community and more. And something which is really nice is that you can go here and then you can download your comment as a CSV, so you can get the analytics afterwards. So you can download all the comments you've got for these different buildings, and then you can analyze that and get feedback in terms of get feedback from your community, basically. And the final option is this one, which is more for people which is collaborating with you. So if you go here and to view, comment, and edit, and you get this URL, basically you can edit my map. And this is obviously for people working close together with you. And in terms of privacy, as you said, like we have this SOC 2 certification, which is, we can also add this like in the chat. maybe Anna can add this in the chat. So basically, it's the most like one of the most like common privacy options for like that data. So basically, we have like the most basically it's like about that anyone that get access to your map, the data stands there, and this cannot be extracted from for other purposes, because this SOC 2 certification is one of the most important, and will get your like data just for you, and you can not get access if you're not using it for other purposes.
That's great. And the final question, is there a certain limitation on storage, or and where does all the comments and the collaborative information that you put in, where does it get stored? So does it get stored in the cloud or a specific layer?
Yeah, it's also in the cloud. And about the licenses that we have 4 type of licenses or subscriptions. So basically, the first one is for free, and you can get a sense on what Felt can do. Obviously, you have restrictions is there in terms of that you cannot use more than 5 layers on your map, upload 5 layers on your map. You have data storage restriction and more. But you can create like as many maps as you want, so you can try that and see like what Felt can offer. And then we have other 3 licenses. The second has 500 megabytes of data storage, so this is like at the limit. It has all other tools as well. The third one is like you have 10 gigabytes of storage, and then also you have access to a special analysis tools and more. And we have finally or like enterprise accounts, which are for like companies, like a bigger companies that they need more customized requirements. But also maybe Anna can put the link to our pricing page, which is felt.com/pricing, where you can get all access to all this information. And if you have more questions, you can also send us an email.
Excellent. And as a reminder to everyone who registered to this event, even if people did not attend the webinar, we will send the recording and we will send useful links and any extra information. So Anna will take care of we'll make sure that you get all the information you need. So now our webinar is coming to an end. So thank you, Juan Pablo, for answering all the questions so thoroughly and for your excellent presentation and the detailed tutorial. We hope it's been of interest for everyone. And before saying goodbye, we'd be very happy if you could give us feedback on this 2-minute survey that you will see in the chat. I'll also share again the link to Felt. So we were really, really happy to have you, Juan, and to have everyone, more than 200 people joining today. And it was really nice to have you all join on this collaborative map and for you to see live what Felt can do. So as I said, we'll send a follow-up email with the recording, all the information you need, and we hope you enjoyed the session. Juan, thank you very much. We're happy to follow up with any question you have. You can reach out to us directly at All Things Urban or at Felt through our social media, by email, and we're happy to open up future collaborations. So thank you, Juan. Thank you,
Yeah,
Anastasia.
thank you, Naila, Anastasia. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And yeah, I will like encourage you to use like a Felt. Please go to the map. You can duplicate that, and then you can get access to both like the recording and this map, so you can follow the steps. That will be very nice. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Hope you enjoyed this. And I'm sure that Felt will be like this all-in-one tool for all of you urban practitioners. So many thanks.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you, everyone. And wherever you are in the world where you're joining us, have a great evening, a great morning, a great day. And we hope to see you around soon. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.